Welcome to Picks with the Professor, the show where a real statistics professor
And the Tom Glavine to his Greg Maddox, Jake.
gives you sports betting tips. I'm your host, Professor Sides, and for the latest updates, information, and picks, you can follow me on Twitter at Professor Sides. You can follow my friend Jake on Twitter at myfriend_Jake. Today is Wednesday, May 18th, 2022, and this episode covers today's best Major League Baseball bets. I'll briefly touch on the remaining games at the end of the show and extra innings. In case you're new here, I built a mathematical model for win probability, hitter, and pitcher projections, and I analyze weather data in order to make one pick, and one pick only on every game played Monday through Saturday. That doesn't mean that I recommend you do the same. I'm just giving you the information as to what I like the most and where my head is for each matchup. As we go through the plays, remember there are no locks in gambling, so it'll give you our loves, likes, and leans to help you decide which picks you might want to play and how I recommend scaling your wagers. With that in mind, please understand that good and bad variance will occur. So as much as I'd like to say will be profitable each and every day, that is an impossible reality for any gambler. Yesterday, another 500 day, so that's a straight up, I think, 15 and 15 weeks so far. That's obviously weird. Yesterday was going fantastic, and then the end of the day just fell apart. The Angels had a lead and blew it. The Rockies decided not to play baseball until the sixth inning, and they scored a ton of runs, and then that was like the only inning. They played one inning last night, so good job, one inning, Rockies. The other 8, you were awful. Merrill Kelly had been our boy and just complete. A second inning gave up like 6 runs, I think.
Yeah, it was bad.
I mean, yeah, it was a fantastic start to the day. Those early games went super well, and then the wheels fell off at the end of the day to, like I said, finish 9-9. Hopefully we can do better today. And before we get to that slate, some reminders. Please hit that like button if you're on YouTube. Also, if you aren't yet, please consider subscribing or following. It's free and the only way to ensure you don't miss any of the college basketball, MLB, or college football content that this channel provides. Share with a friend if you know others in the game. Hit us up on Twitter or drop a comment if you're on YouTube. We love those and try to respond to as many as we can. And as a reminder, I encourage all my listeners to have multiple sports books in their portfolio, especially ones with those MLB dime lines. With these at your disposal, you should be able to find an edge on any game. I have a couple that I recommend. The links are in the show's description and on the website, www.pickswiththeprofessor.com/sportsbooks. Also, you can see my background at a different location. If you hear a dog barking, we're just going to pause, let the dog bark, and then we're going to keep going. So we'll see how it goes. It's like a live thing. Like, I don't edit this. We just roll. Yeah. It's unscripted. I mean, I have like some notes, but like it's unscripted. There's a dog in the house, and hopefully the dog is chill, but we'll just as a warning. It's like if there's a siren in the background, there's a siren in the background, right? What are you going to do, right?
Yeah, can't control it.
Exactly. We're going to start off with an afternoon game here, 2:10 Eastern, first pitch, Braves at the Brewers. Max Fried versus Corbin Burns. A game yesterday, I said I like the Brewers and I like the under. And I feel like that's been a microcosm of the whole season. I've a lot of times I said I like 2 things, and I've picked the wrong one more than half the time for sure. The under was an easy hit. The Braves got the win yesterday. We're obviously in the dome in Milwaukee, or if they open it up, it should be in nice weather. The model says Brewers minus 136. I really like this pick. I'm going Brewers minus 133, and I'm giving it an A grade. It should be a low-scoring game, but I think Corbin Burns is a better pitcher than Max Fried. Nothing against Max Fried. He's a good pitcher, but Corbin Burns is fantastic. And so I think when you combine, again, the Brewers elite back into the bullpen with Corbin Burns, I think the Braves are going to have a really hard time scoring today. I think we want to take advantage of the fact that we only have to lay 133 with Corbin at home. You're not going to get this opportunity many times. And if you do, it's going to be against a guy. Again, not that Max Fried is bad, but if you're getting this number, it's often against Max Scherzer. It's against a Justin Verlander. It's against one of those guys. Fried, I don't think is in that category. Not to say the Braves can't win, but I think this price is just too low. So A-grade pick for me on the Brewers. Minus 133. Jake, you're a Braves fan. Can the Brewers win this one? Am I crazy, or what's your thought here?
If I were gonna pick a winner on this one, I would lean the Brewers. Acuna is such a big part of what the Braves do, and he's just coming back from that groin injury plus the knee injury. So I'm not sure if he's going to play back-to-back games yet. So
With the day game.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of sitting this one out, because he changes that offensive lineup. And so I want to see what he's going to do before I make a play here. And I think you're right. Burns is a better pitcher than Fried. I think Fried might get up there in the next couple of years. He's still young, and I mean, he's very, very good, but just not quite that level yet. But the play I'm going to make on this one is I like Burns' under on his strikeout total.
Okay.
What I'm seeing is like 8.5, and I think that's a little high for a guy that might. He doesn't really go that deep, so you're looking for like he doesn't go past 6 or 7 often, and you're looking for him to get 2 strikeouts in an inning, at least once or twice.
Couple times, yeah.
And then if he doesn't strike out anybody out in an inning, it really puts you behind with a strikeout total so high. He only had 7 against the Braves last time he pitched against them, so I'm playing the under on him this time.
It makes sense. And you talk about Burns, right? Every once in a while you'll see him go 8 or 9, but for the most part, it's like we talked about with that great back end. He is allowed to just go 6 as hard as he can and then turn it over to the bullpen, no big deal. And so having that freedom might limit his inning upside, which of course is highly correlated with strikeouts. So I like your idea there. And we talk about the Braves offense, and of course Acuna being a huge part of it, but it's also, I feel like every time around we mention this, but they still just haven't seemed to quite get it going yet. Ozuna, Albi, some of these guys who are, Olsen's been fantastic, right? But a couple of these guys who are big, Swanson's been very bad, right? And so it's a couple of these guys, it's like they can't quite get all the pieces going. And when they do, that offense is fantastic, but it's just not quite clicking yet.
Yeah, it's frustrating because like Duvall, he's one of my favorite players, but he normally bats so well, like is way above his average when guys are in scoring position. Like it was just clutch all last year and before that, and this year I think he's only got the 1 home run, maybe 2, and it took a while for that to happen. Ozuna started off hot and then died.
Yep.
It's been frustrating to be.
Albies has hit a few home runs, but that's really all he's done.
And they're solo shots. Like
Right.
It's not. We can't ever get like a rally going. But
right. All right. So I'm on Brewers -133 A pick. Jake, you're playing Burns under strikeout. You said about 8.5 is kind of the number you're seeing.
Yeah.
Alrighty. 4:10 Eastern. First pitch. Giants at the Rockies. Logan Webb versus Kyle Freeland. It'll be a very nice day in Denver. Around 80 degrees. Wind blowing across. This Rockies team still has more wins at home than losses. They're above 500 at home. They're well below 500 on the road. So I stand by what I've said. They play better at home. They're a team that at home you can back them on the road. They're going to win a few road games, but you really don't want to back them on the road. And of course, lo and behold, now they've lost 4 of 5 at home. 2 of those losses against the Giants is very respectable. 2 of them against the Royals, not. So they've kind of fallen on hard times. It's a great question when a team starts to struggle or play well either direction, right? When is it real? When do you ride it? Streaks end all the time, right? Sometimes the streak ends after 4 games. Sometimes the streak ends after 6 games, after 8 games. You never really know when it's going to happen. But right now, the Rockies have been really struggling. I'm just going to trust the model on this one. The model's like the Rockies. The model's like the Rockies at home the last few days. They've shown signs of life in all these losses that we've been on the Rockies, but they just haven't been able to put it together and play a complete game. The model says Giants -156, which would provide us an edge on the Giants at -151. That's the money line I'm seeing right now. So if you wanted to play Giants money line, I think that makes a lot of sense. With a total of 10.5 in that park, knowing that runs can happen in bunches, I'll just go run line and save myself the odds. I'm going Giants run line -105. This is not a situation where it's, the Rockies have lost, so I'm just going to flip. I would have done that yesterday because I didn't really love it yesterday either. It's just, hey, there's a reason I built a model. It's to try to take the emotions out of it. It's to try to find value where there's value. Things I'm always saying, right? You can win 60% of your plays, but if you're constantly betting things better, larger than -150, and you win 60%, you're going to lose money, right? Our goal here is not to win more picks, it's to win more money. And those are obviously correlated, but they're not the exact same thing, right? So I built the model to try to help us find value. It says there's value on the Giants today. You can play the money line. I'm just going to go run line. A pick for me, I love Logan Webb. I think he's fantastic. As long as he can kind of figure out what's going on at that altitude. Huge starting pitcher mismatch. I don't think Kyle Freeland's bad. He's just no Logan Webb. And so I love backing Logan Webb at decent prices when I can. Giants run line A pick for me. Jake, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm with you here, but I'm the opposite on Freeland. I think he's.
You think he's bad?
I think he's a below average starter, and especially in Colorado, that with this the way the Giants offense can really take off at times. It's kind of terrifying. And Logan Webb is probably one of the best pitchers, and I don't feel like he gets enough respect. And it's like people aren't watching him. And I know some of that's the West Coast stuff where a lot of the East Coast people don't get to stay up that late. But if you can, he's worth the watch. He's very, very good.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just dismissive of Webb. It's like, oh, he's playing in a pitcher's park, whatever, right? But he's very good. And you make a great point about the Giants offense. They are rolling. And again, you never know when the streaks are going to end, right? So it's there's no locks, right? It's not that simple. So I just want to caution people on that. It's not that they will continue to put up these numbers, but they have been fantastic. And so in general, you kind of say a great offense and a great hitters, or offense is performing great in the hitter's part. You kind of think will keep that going against a average or below average pitcher in Freeland. Lots to like here on the Giants.
Yep.
All righty. 4:37 Eastern, first pitch, Twins at the A's. Sonny Gray versus Dalton Jeffries. A nice night, or a nice afternoon here in Oakland. Similar to Denver, 80-degree weather. Winds will be blowing out, but only in the below 10 mile an hour range. So not really going to affect things too much. Obviously, a huge pitcher's park in Oakland. Again, another situation yesterday where I picked the wrong thing. I was debating first 5 under. That hit. Was debating game under. That hit. Isolated A's under. That didn't hit. At some point I'm going to do that. It's going to work better. I'm going full game under here. 7.5. It's an A pick for me. I just don't think these teams can get above 7. I mean, they got to 7 yesterday. Both these offenses aren't as good. Correa's still out for the Twins. The A's offense, 5 runs yesterday is as much as they can score. I don't know if they can get over 5. I just don't know if it's possible, right? Sonny Gray's a pretty solid pitcher. Jeffries probably pretty average. Model says Twins minus 144, no edge on the side. It's hard to really look one way or the other here because the Twins are the better team with the better pitcher, but on the road, I don't want to lay a number quite like minus 150 or minus 160 with them. That, of course, plays itself into the derivative markets of team totals. I just think game under is the way to look. I overthought it yesterday. I'm not going to overthink it today. Under 7.5 at minus 120, A play for me. Jake, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm with you here. I don't trust either offense, especially with Correa out, to be able to put up more than 5 runs. And I like Sonny Gray. I think he's had a little bit of a rough start here, but I think he'll get it together. And like you said, playing out in Oakland always helps because it's a really good pitcher's park. So I really like the under here.
Yep, miles and miles of foul territory there, which definitely helps. So we were both on the under in that one. 5:10 Eastern, first pitch. Diamondbacks at the Dodgers. Zach Davies versus Walker Buehler. A nice day in LA. Lots of nice weather today. Mid-upper 70s. A slight breeze, 5 to 10 miles an hour out towards center. Model says Dodgers minus 256. This might be our largest model win probability so far this season. We'll get more as the season moves along and teams start really tanking. We'll probably see one up around 80%, but this one gives the Dodgers a 72% chance of winning. Right now, there's no edge on either side based off of the prices. You're not getting prices that large on the Diamondbacks. You have to lay 270 on the Dodgers, which is just a non-starter for me. I can't see how there's value in doing that. I always talk about parlays. I don't love them. I don't really recommend them. But if you're going to be a parlay player, I mean, throwing the Dodgers in a parlay money line, probably not crazy. I mean, they probably win the game, right? Again, my model says 72% of the time. I'm going to go Dodgers run line. It's minus 137, and I'm going to give this a B grade. My thinking here is you don't have a cool day. The ball in LA sometimes flies out more so during the day. Now, with this new ball, I don't know exactly how that's going to play out. But in years past, the Dodger Stadium has played like a hitter's park in the day games when it's warmed up. It's not extremely warm, but I mean, upper 70s, wind blowing out. Like, there might be a few runs in this game. The difference between Dodgers money line and the run line odds seems really large. And so I just think that the run line makes sense here. Like, if the Dodgers are minus 270, I would have expected this run line to be more like minus 150, minus 160 maybe. It's just such a big difference. I think there's value here on this run line. I think the Dodgers win. They're a better team. Walker Buehler, obviously a much better pitcher than Zach Davies. The Dodgers offense, obviously a much better offense. The bullpen, light years better. I think the Dodgers win, and I think they have a really good chance of winning by more than one. So I'm taking Dodgers run line. B pick for me at minus 137. Jake, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm with you with the Dodgers run line here. Walker Buehler is nasty. And Zach Davies, this is a bad matchup for him, I think, because he's not like an overpower you kind of pitcher. So if he's off on his spots a couple times, this Dodgers lineup has no let up in it, and it'll just get punished. So I also like, and this really surprised me, Walker Buehler's strikeout total. I like the over. It's only at 5.5, is what I'm seeing.
Interesting.
And he absolutely dominated the Diamondback last time out, and so I think we're, especially at home, he's going to do that again. So I have no problem trying to get 6, 7, or even 8, 9, 10 from him. The way the Diamondbacks team, I think them and the Braves lead the MLB. Lead is a bad word, or the worst of the MLB at striking out every game. They're up around 9, 10 a game. So I really like that play. I like the Dodgers minus 1.5 here. If you are a parlay player like myself, I like to tie strikeouts, like the over here and the winner together. It gets you a little extra money for when those odds get way out there.
Yep, I like that idea. It makes a lot of sense. We always talk about with parlays, the one edge you can have is if you can get correlated parlays. And it's harder in baseball. You see it sometimes in the right situation. We see it in football, right? If you end up with a 14-point dog and a total that's like 30, parlaying the dog and the under and just being like, as long as the favorite doesn't score very much, like, you have a higher probability of hitting both, right? So it's kind of like you're talking about there, a little bit of a correlation there, and that can provide a little bit of value there if you can find the right spots. 17 Eastern first pitch, Reds at the Guardians, Tyler Mahle versus Cal Quantrill. Low 60s in Cleveland, wind blowing out to left field at about 10 miles an hour. Definitely a chance of rain, so one to keep an eye on here. Model says Guardians minus 134, so you could look Guardians minus 132 is the number I'm seeing now. I think that makes some sense. Instead, I'm just going to keep going back to the well here. I'm going to go over 7.5. It's minus 115. B grade pick for me. The Reds mostly play over games. I've mentioned this before with Mahle. He had a pretty good year last year, but I project him to be I project him right about league average going forward. And so I think he's getting some respect there. That is probably not deserved. I think this total should be 8, maybe even 8.5. At 8, I'd still go over as well. At 8.5 is a little bit tougher of an ask. But over 7.5, it just seems really low. I'm just trusting that the Reds are the one over team in baseball that's consistent there, and that'll keep rolling. Jake, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm with you. The Reds bullpen, I'll always tend to like the over there because you just need 1 or 2 runs off the starter, and like Mahle's one of their better starters. And if we can get 1 or 2 runs off him, that bullpen is going to be our best friends. And Quantrill's not great either. He's been playing he's been playing averagely. So I really like the over here because that Guardians offense can take off at times. They've put up like above 10 a few times already, and it makes this over really nice.
And you talk about the Reds bullpen. They got us to the window last night, giving up those late couple runs to the Guardians, getting us to the tie at 4-4, which got us the win on the over. So yeah, that Reds bullpen not very good, and the Reds offense I keep talking about is better than I expect them. They put up more runs than they should. I don't know how they're doing it, but they keep doing it. So yeah, I think we got to keep riding these Reds overs. Only a B pick for me. It's too cold for this to be an A pick, right? At low 60s with the new ball. It's not one that I'm like, oh, this is definitely an over. I really love this one, but it's one that I like and I think is worth the investment here at this number of 7.5. 7:40 Eastern, first pitch Nationals at the Marlins. Josiah Gray versus Pablo Lopez. Y'all know I love me some Pablo Lopez. That guy's fantastic. Model says Marlins minus 172. So the model doesn't show an edge here, but I think the Marlins are the right side. I'm going to go Marlins minus 181. Only a B pick because the model doesn't back me up. If the model backed me up, I could go to the A pick. I just think that Pablo Lopez is a much better pitcher than Josiah Gray. Gray obviously has the upside. He's just kind of up and down as most young players are at this point in their career. I can't quite get to an A pick because Gray has the potential to do well. I can't quite get to an A pick because the model thinks that the number is probably pretty fair, but I think the Marlins is the right side. I mentioned yesterday we could also go run line on the Marlins. That worked out. I'm a little more afraid of the run line today just because if Gray pitches well and it's a tight game, I still think the Marlins are the better side. I still want to back the Marlins. But if Gray pitches well, that run line is going to be a tougher ask. The odds aren't great, but I think go ahead and just lay the juice with the Marlins. Don't sweat them having to win by more than one. Minus 181 is the pick for me. B grade on the Marlins. Jake, what you got?
Yeah, I'm with you. Marlins are. I don't like the Nationals really. Their offense it has not too much to do with their pitching. It's just their offense is
like
really
two hitters.
Yeah, really dependent on a couple of hitters, and they bat them back to back or very close. So you've got 2 innings there where those guys probably don't come up to bat each out of every 3.
Yeah.
So I really like, especially with a pitcher like Pablo. Man, he is really good and not getting talked about enough about how well he's going. So this is very easy, Marlins, and I'm not brave enough yet. I might talk myself into it later to do the run line, but right now I'm just taking the Marlins for the win.
All right, 7:45 Eastern first pitch. Padres at the Phillies. Blake Snell versus Zach Wheeler. In Philadelphia, we're going to start off around 70 degrees tonight, close in the mid-60s, a slight breeze at like 5 miles an hour blowing out, so not really going to affect anything because it's not very strong. Model says Phillies minus 135, so the Padres might have some value. Yesterday, the Padres had a ton of value. They should have been favored yesterday. We got some plus odds there on the Padres. That was a good one. Today, Padres maybe a good underdog to take. I don't really like it. I don't really want to fade Zach Wheeler. Blake Snell's also very good. With that in mind, I'll go first 5 under 4. The odds are minus 110. I'm going to give this a B grade. I like both pitchers. Weather-wise, it's solid. It's just that both of these offenses can go kind of crazy at any given moment. So I'm only giving it a B pick because I just don't want to get caught by either offense deciding, hey, let's score 5 runs this inning. It's just when I can't quite get there to that highest level of confidence. I still like it. First 5 under 4. B pick for me. Jake, what do you think?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Snell hasn't thrown a game this year, right?
He's not pitched. I know he hasn't pitched recently. I'm not sure if he's pitched this year yet or not. If so, I haven't said his name in a while. I know that much.
Yeah. So that's kind of why I'm staying away because I'm not sure what he's going to do in the first game or like there hadn't been. I know he was on the IL for a bit, and that's why Gore was up. So I want to sit back and watch and see what he does. But before I make a play here, I mean, I think the under is the way to go. Like the first 5 is probably pretty good way to do it, but I'm not making a play on it because I want to see what Snell does. I don't want his first game to come back and him re-injure whatever it was and then just get lit up.
And you're correct. He has not pitched this year. And I didn't mention this, but that was part of the reason also for first 5 under, not game under, is Snell never goes deep. And first start now, probably a situation where I don't expect him to go more than 5, and he may only go 4, right? But it's a situation where we're definitely going to get into the Padres bullpen, which can be up and down. It's got some guys that are pretty good, but yesterday Gore came in and threw 3 fantastic innings. Rogers at the back end is good, but beyond that, they've got Suarez, a guy coming over from Japanese league, I guess, or Korean league. He came over from somewhere, and he's been up and down. He's had some good moments, but but they've got a lot of guys who aren't as good. So I don't really want to be a part of that Padres bullpen here. Hoping Snell gets us 5, even if he gets us 4 strong, that's good. But yeah, he's definitely unlikely, especially against a good Phillies offense, to go deep in general with the way he pitches, and especially in the situation. It's not like I think he's going to go 7. So I want the first 5, get out of Dodge. Kind of a hold my breath here, like I said, with both offenses. That Phillies offense can be really good. So every time they come to bat tonight, it will definitely be a hold my breath situation. Yeah. 8:05 Eastern first pitch. Yankees at the Orioles. Garrett Cole versus Jordan Lyles. Had the Yankees run line yesterday. They were ahead 2 in the 9th, and then Chapman. We talk about there's a lot of closers who are just past their prime. I think Chapman might be one of them. Every time he pitched this year, it seems like there's either runners on or he's giving up runs. he's definitely not pitched very well. Garrett Cole, a guy was fading early and was really struggling and struggled last year on the crackdown of the sticky stuff. I don't know what's changed, but he's looked really good three of his last 4 starts. And then the fourth one, the most recent one, he gave up a couple of runs, but he had tons of strikeouts and his underlying metrics looked really good. So he's either figured out a way to work with whatever is allowed substance-wise, or he's cheating again. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I don't really care, right? What matters to me is if he wins or loses and if we can predict that, right? So whatever it is he's doing, it's working now. Again, whether it just took him a long time to figure it out or what. I've mentioned this before, and I don't want to dive too much on the rabbit hole, but people always, if you're unaware, the idea is that the more grip you get on the baseball, the looser you can hold it. And if you're used to holding it loose and all of a sudden it starts going everywhere, that could be a problem. That's what was happening. But he's definitely found it the last few starts. And so he's a pitcher that I'm much more comfortable backing now than earlier in the season. We're going to have a nice night in Baltimore, upper 60s. Chance of rain towards the end of the game, so something to keep an eye on weather-wise there. No real wind to speak of. It'll be about 5 miles an hour, out or across. Model says Yankees minus 233. That presents no edge on either side. Instead, I'll go first 5 under 4. And I'm giving this an A grade. I really like, again, the way Cole's looked lately. And I've talked about this before. Jordan Lyles has got some value. He's pitched fairly well this year. It's a hold my breath situation because the Yankees offense is really good. But with the way Lyles has gone, I expect him to go hard 2 times through the lineup and then turn it over to the bullpen. If he can get us through 4, hopefully that 5th inning, only give up 2 or 3 runs, we should be good here because I think Cole can hold down this Orioles offense. First 5 under 4, A pick for me. I think both of these pitchers offer some value. I think this number should be 3.5. Getting that push on 4, I think, is clutch. So A grade for me, Jake. What do you think?
I really wanted to pick the Yankees to win in the run line, but I don't think it's worth the price I'm paying, especially money line right now. So I'm staying away from this one. I think you're right, but I just like with Cole, I think he's figured it out. But at the same time, I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop and for him to get busted during a game or something like that. I don't know. I just got a bad opinion of the Yankees in general.
But everyone listening to this is either outraged or agrees with you. Like, I don't think there's anybody in between, right? Everyone either loves the Yankees or hates the Yankees. That's the way it goes, right?
Yeah. So I keep waiting for that to happen. But I think actually, with my actual thoughts is he's figured it out. He probably just took him a little bit longer to work with not playing with whatever he was using to help the grip, and now he's back to where he was before that. So the first 5 is probably a good play.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to dive too much on the rabbit hole, but of course there was when the allegations came out about the trainer in Anaheim who was helping opposing pitchers, right? I know that Cole was one of the ones really linked to that. And so, yeah, and again, I think most of the pitchers were cheating, and you call it cheating, right? It was a little bit of a like everyone was doing it to what extreme. And so I'm not trying to justify bad behavior, but it's the idea that, baseball looked the other way, and this is what happens when you look the other way. Like, this is kind of baseball's own doing. If they wanted to enforce the rule, they should have dealt with it, and now they have, but they didn't before. So they kind of let things get out of control. And I think Cole was kind of on the edge of that. He really pushed the limits. As with most of the players in the Astros, that's what they did. They pushed every limit they could. They flirted with, towed, sometimes crossed every line possible to get an edge. I think Cole did that because baseball was like, whatever, we don't care. And then all of a sudden, when they decided to care, it definitely affected Cole the most. He really relied on that just to like let it fly. And like you said, it just took him a little bit longer than everybody else to figure it out. It took pitchers a little bit. It took him longer, but he's looked fantastic. So I'm finally comfortable backing him as opposed to early in the season when he definitely struggled out the gate still. Looks like he's got it figured out now. 9:10 Eastern first pitch. For some reason, they're starting this at 8 o'clock, unless I pulled the timing wrong. It seems like they're playing this 8 o'clock local start in Kansas City. I don't know. Lucas Giolito versus Zach Greinke, White Sox at the Royals here. Nice night in Kansas City. We'll start off upper 70s, close at low 70s, no wind. Model says White Sox should win. Obviously, Giolito is a pitcher you want to back. I don't think there's a ton of value personally on either side. Instead, I'm going to go first 5 under 4. And I'm going to give this an A grade as well. The Royals offense is very bad. Lucas Giolito, very good. The White Sox offense been kind of up and down. Greinke at these days is a pitcher who's just going to go 2 times through the lineup. As long as he can get us those 2 times, he's going to show everything he's got. Keep this low scoring early. The White Sox probably score late against the Royals bullpen, probably win. I don't want to have to care about that. I just need me 5 innings, especially good innings from Giolito. Just hold on with Greinke. Again, I think this is a number that should be 3.5. The fact that we get the push at 4, I think they're just being too generous for us. A pick for me. Jake, what's your opinion?
Yeah, I'm taking the White Sox to win. I like Giolito a lot, and Kansas City can't score for the most part. They just fired their hitting coach because of that reason. So I think they were ranking at the bottom and everything, offensively wise. And Greinke's a good pitcher, so I don't want to do run line, but I'm going to take the White Sox to just win on the money line here.
All right. And all of my times are 1 hour off. I switched time zones and everything got confusing. So all these times are an hour off, whatever. You're probably not listening to this podcast to know when games start. So it doesn't really matter. But yeah, subtract an hour from everything that's happened today. It is what it is. Like I said at the start, we just roll and see what happens, and you get to laugh at us as it goes along.
We are a well-oiled machine.
We look, hot take, right? We should just get rid of time zones, right? And just be like, what's it matter?
Yeah.
We all, especially now with everyone, working with people across the country. Right? Some of you people are like, man, this guy's crazy. But hey, just let it simmer, right? If it's possible, right? If you lived your life and instead of waking up at 6 a.m., you woke up and it was still like the sun coming up, but it was 3 p.m. Like, would that affect your life? And my hunch is the answer is no, because just a number on a wall that you probably don't even want to change when time changes every 6 months, right? You just look at your phone, right? Whatever. Anyway, we've gone off the rails here. Extra innings. We got a few other games to discuss. Tigers at the Rays, an afternoon start. Eduardo Rodriguez versus Drew Rasmussen. I'm going first 5 under here as well. Numbers 3.5, so only a lean for me. I'd rather have 4. I don't trust either offense. I like both pitchers. But at 3.5 in the juice, it's not one I really like, so only a lean for me there. Astros at the Red Sox, a night game, Luis Garcia versus Nick Pivetta. I like Garcia. I don't like Pivetta. The Astros offense. Say what?
Think you're going to get 5 home runs in an inning again?
I don't think we're going to get 5 home runs in an inning tonight, but I do like the Astros. Run line, it's plus 110. Only a lean, though. Model doesn't really like it. But I think that Garcia is a better pitcher than Pivetta, and I think the Astros offense is better than the Red Sox offense. So I'll take Astros run line at plus odds, only a lean. Mariners at the Blue Jays, Marco Gonzalez versus Kevin Gausman. Model says there's value in the Mariners. I'm taking the Mariners, only a C pick, plus 200. Just too high of odds, right? The Blue Jays probably win this game, but we only need the Mariners to win. We don't even need them to win half the time. We need them to win 40-ish% of the time, upper 30s, and this offers value. So lean for me on the Mariners at plus 200, just because if we take these value picks in the lower end, it'll build our bankroll. Similar story, Angels at the Rangers, Ohtani versus Dunning. The model says there's value on the Rangers plus 144, so I'll take them with a lean. It's not one that I love. I can't figure out the Angels. I zig and they zag. Only a lean for me on the Rangers at plus odds. Cardinals at the Mets night game, Jordan Hicks versus Max Scherzer, 2 really good pitchers. One fantastic pitcher with Scherzer, a solid pitcher in Hicks, one that's had the potential. We talked about him a lot, right, with the injuries, but he's looked solid. He's rising in my rankings. I'll go under 7, only a lean, just because I don't fully trust Hicks, but I like what I've seen so far with him.
You think they're trying to make him a starter, like trying to stretch him out a little bit, or is he just going to be an opener?
I have no idea what they're trying to do. Maybe someone else knows. It's hard to be in tune with all 30 teams, but so far his outputs looked good. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly what their plan is. And of course, he was a starter coming up in the minors, and then they switched him to a reliever because they didn't need a starter.
Yeah, then he had him closing for a bit, and then gets
closing for a bit. Yeah,
I don't know. He's just a pitcher.
Yeah, exactly. But so far the output's been good, so I'll go under, but only a lean at minus 117. It's not got a ton of value. Slight win out as well, so not one I love, but I think it's probably a push, honestly, at 7. But I'll go under with a lean on that one. And the last game, Pirates at the Cubs, there's no line out at this moment. No pitcher has been announced for the Pirates, so I will update that on Twitter. I will say chilly night in Chicago, 55 degrees, pretty much consistently throughout the game. Anything you want to add on any of that, Jake?
No, just watch for the. They haven't come out yet, but Garrett Cole's strikeouts. I'm if it's anywhere from 5 to like 6.5, I'm probably taking the over. 6.5 is getting real close to the edge. But Baltimore strikes out a lot. Garrett Cole's figured it out, and he's been like I think in his last few.
It's like 9 or 10 in his last couple. I think.
Yeah. So I think he's really got it. So I'll probably be playing that if it's in that range, but I don't want to take it any higher than 6.5.
Yeah, that makes sense. The only thing there to look into, that one might be one you want to wait right up until game time, is to check the weather. If there's rain that hits like after the 5th inning, and all of a sudden he only gets a 5-inning start, that would be really frustrating, So that's just keep an eye on the weather on something like that, because that could affect exactly how long somebody goes in a play like that. My A picks, I've got the Brewers minus 133, the Giants run line, it's minus 105, the Twins at the A's under 7.5 at minus 120. And I've got a couple of first 5 under 4s, Yankees at Orioles at minus 115, and then White Sox at Royals minus 105. And that is all we have for you today. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Picks with the Professor. Reminder, check out the Google Sheet for model picks, projections, and results. You can find that link at the website, www.pickswiththeprofessor.com. If you haven't done so yet, please click that subscribe button to ensure all the sports betting content we provide on this channel is dropped right into your feed. I will see you tomorrow with Cousin Jared. Until then, remember, you can eat your betting money, but please don't bet your eating money.